Und hier sitzt ja nun unser Studiogast, Mr Lawless von Wasp. Einen wunderschönen guten Abend, Blackie. Wie immer hat sich natürlich unser Studiogast alle Videos ausgesucht, die jetzt kommen werden. Und ich habe natürlich auch eine spannende Frage sofort an Blackie. Wasp haben sich reformiert. Wie ist es eigentlich zu dieser Idee gekommen? Ihr habt euch ja eigentlich schon aufgelöst gehabt.
About a year and a half ago, I came over here and I said that there would be no more Wasp. And when I got back to America, after I had finished the promo for the last record, the fan mail started coming in, and that fan mail was almost violent in opposition to No More Wasp. So I started thinking to myself, I mean, it really doesn't make a difference whether I call it Mr Lawless or whether I call it Wasp. It's still going to sound the same. It doesn't matter. And when I came to the realization all the letters were saying basically the same thing, Wasp are not so much about the people, Wasp are an idea. And I started thinking, okay, fair enough. I mean, if that's the way they want it, I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that at all.
Das erste Video, was du dir ausgesucht hast, ist von Metallica. Hättest du jemals gedacht, dass Heavy Metal so populär und so groß werden würde?
Everybody says that now because they think that there's some sort of new thing happening in music right now, and it's not really new. I mean, what Metallica does is very similar to what either myself or a number of other bands who have come before us have done. So it's not really that different. I mean, what Metallica does is it's rock. I mean, you can call it all kinds of different things, but it's the essence of what rock is supposed to be. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, that's the way it should be, not what the press or the media wants to try to say is new or anything like that, because there really is no such thing. And I think they do a good job of it. So as far as I'm concerned, no, I'm not surprised at all that they would do that. This is from Metallica. This is Enter Sandman.
Da wirft sich natürlich sofort eine Frage auf. Zum Beispiel, wie klingt das neue Wasp-Album im Vergleich zu den alten Wasp-Sachen?
Still Not Black Enough is an extension of The Crimson Idol, where The Crimson Idol was the story of, it was an opera, which is a story of a boy named Jonathan. This is more the story of me, and people say how much of The Crimson Idol or Jonathan is me. And basically, the only portion of Jonathan that is me is my relationship to my mother. I mean, we didn't get along that well, and it's like, I mean, it's not something that I'm particularly proud of, but it is what it is. So when I was looking for an idea for the new album, Still Not Black Enough, I said, okay, you know, what should I do? I think that any artist, if they're going to have a really personal relationship with an audience, has to let the audience on the inside of what that artist is saying. In other words, what's really going on in their lives. If I haven't done a record for 2 or 3 years, I come back, I say, okay, this is my life, this is what I've been doing, and this is what's new with me. If you're not willing to let people on the inside of you, you're never, ever going to have an intensely personal relationship with them. I mean, this was an extremely painful record for me to make, but in reality, it was pretty cheap therapy, you know, in light of everything that anybody goes through in their life. You know, to get from one stage to the next, they're going to have some trauma in between. So to be able to share that with people sometimes is a good thing. Over the course of making the record, when we do singles, a lot of times we'll do B-sides and we'll do covers by other artists, because that's largely bands that we've either grown up with or things that we've liked for a really long time. So one of the things that we did on this is we usually only do one song by a band for a B-side, but we did 2 different ones, and AC/DC was one of the bands that I chose to do this. We did A Whole Lot of Rosie and Long Way to the Top, and I'm a huge AC/DC fan. I mean, as everybody must be. I mean, if you're not an AC/DC fan, you must be a communist, you know. So I mean, I've always enjoyed them. This is a video from AC/DC. This is Heatseeker.
So, ich hoffe, ihr habt nach den Verbraucherinformationen euch neue Getränke an den Tisch gestellt, denn jetzt geht's weiter. Viva Metalla mit Mr Lawless. Und ich habe natürlich sofort eine nächste Frage. Wie klingen Wasp eigentlich 1995 musikalisch?
It's very similar to the Crimson Idol. I mean, I've said in the preface on the album that this record picks up in a lot of ways where the last one left off. But for me, musically speaking, I can't really write a song until I come up with the idea first, and that usually is either the title or the lyrics themselves. But once I have the title, that tells me pretty much what that song is going to sound like, because I have to preface that song first. It tells me everywhere I'm going to go. If I don't have that title first, I can write the music, but it becomes very difficult. To me, the music is almost secondary to what the idea is about. I mean, the idea's got to come from the heart first, and once I have that, then it tells me everywhere I'm going to go.
Es gibt ja die viel zitierte neue Heavy Metal Welle, sag ich mal, mit Bands wie Biohazard, Sepultura, Machine Head. Was denkst du denn von dem New Heavy Metal Movement mit Machine Head und so weiter?
It's funny, last week I spent 2 hours with Tony Iommi, a guitar player from Black Sabbath, and we were laughing about some of the bands that were doing some of the riffs that Sabbath was doing a long time ago and aren't doing them as good. But that's okay, because there's got to be a new generation that comes up that picks up that gauntlet and moves on. Again, I don't think it's so much the idea of the music as it is the intent of the heart. In other words, you can take a simple riff, as long as you play it where it's believable. In other words, is there passion in what you're doing? If that passion is not there, then it means nothing. I don't care how good the riff is. I've chosen Machine Head's new video because I feel that they are one of the few bands that has, of the new groups, that has that passion, but they also have, I think, what it takes to go the distance in the long run. This is the new video from Machine Head. This is Davidian. I chose this video for a couple of reasons. Faith No More are a band that I feel is very important for the reasons that they've combined some rap with traditional metal and have successfully fused the two together. The only other band that I can think of that's even come close to doing anything like that is probably Red Hot Chili Peppers. But the second reason I chose this is that the video was directed by a guy named Ralph Zeman, who had done all the stuff that we had done for the videos on the Crimson Idol. The guy's a terrific director, and his use of colors is phenomenal. This is Faith No More. This is epic.
In 20 Jahren Heavy Metal haben sich natürlich mannigfaltige Musikstile aufgetan, so zum Beispiel auch Progressiv Metal. Das nächste Video, was du dir ausgesucht hast, ist Dream Theater. Stehst du auch auf progressiven Metal?
Dream Theater are one of the few bands that I feel that I have a whole lot in common with, because what Wasp do now is basically progressive as well. There's only really a few bands that do what we do. Dream Theater is one of them. Queensryche is another. So there's not many that do what we do, and I appreciate what they do.
Ja, Dream Theater unterstützen natürlich auch Stop the Violence, die Kampagne. Hier gibt es ein schönes T-Shirt davon. Ihr wisst ja, letzte Woche habe ich euch aufgeklärt, was das ist. Die Firma East West und Viva TV haben keinen Bock mehr auf rohe Gewalt. Ihr sollt kreative Einsendungen machen, ein Video, ein Song, ein Gemälde, irgendwas. Und die ersten 10 Einsender gewinnen dieses T-Shirt. Und natürlich gibt es noch eine fette Reise in die USA. Wohin ihr das alles senden müsst, das ist die kommende Adresse. Die gibt es jetzt in dem Video Dream Theater, Pull Me Under. Wer erinnert sich nicht an die Kings des Metals, Iron Maiden, Manowar natürlich. So legendäre Songs wie The Trooper, Run to the Hills oder 666, The Number of the Beast. Was ist mit ihnen los? Früher waren sie top, jetzt, ja, Flop würde ich nicht sagen, aber mit ihrem neuen Sänger passiert ja recht wenig. Oder was denkst du darüber, Blackie?
I tell you what, a lot more has been made out of what is supposedly new in the world of metal than there should have been. A lot of this is fabrication by the press and stuff. Any band, I don't care whether it's Iron Maiden, whether it's Wasp, Metallica, whoever it might be, if they go away for 2 or 3 years and they don't make a record, there's always going to be something new that comes up in between, and people are going to say, oh, that band is finished, they're not going to do this. Let me tell you something. If they come back with a strong record, they're going to be right back where they were again. It does not matter. I just finished doing about a dozen dates in the UK. I was in Italy, I was in France, and also in Spain. And I went around and I did personal appearances in all these places. And I'm here to tell you that the audience that I've seen that have come up in droves to the places that I've been, they haven't changed at all. Like I said, a lot of this is some sort of fabrication, in the minds of the press because they're so desperately trying to convince people that there's something new out there, and really, there isn't. The only thing that's ever going to be new is what I was saying before. It's the intent of the heart. That's all it can ever be. This is from Iron Maiden. Bring your daughter to the slaughter.
Natürlich hat der gute Mr Lawless uns was mitgebracht. Zum Beispiel das neue Wasp-Video. Kannst du uns ein bisschen darüber erzählen?
What I was trying to do with this was to give people an idea what Wasp looked like in the very, very beginning of the band. Not once our first album was released, what we looked like when we actually played the Troubadour a long time ago. Because by the time our first album actually came out, we looked different by then, and the world never ever saw us and what we looked like. Wasp in the very beginning were a very dark, a very black band, and that's what this video does. It goes from a white room to a black room when it starts raining black paint. The most difficult part about it was probably in light. My wrist is broken in 2 places, and if you look at this video, you can see the original cast that was on my hand, and we didn't like the way it looked, so we took black spray paint and we spray painted the cast, and that's what it looks like, part of the outfit that I'm wearing there.
Er hat natürlich nicht nur das Video mitgebracht, sondern auch diese geile Picture Disc. Und nicht eine davon, sondern 10 Stück. Und die verlosen wir, aber natürlich nicht einfach so. Es gibt natürlich noch eine super schwere Frage, und die wird uns der Blicky selbst stellen, heißt es richtig. Und die Adresse, wo ihr die Antwort hinschicken könnt, die wird natürlich im Video eingeblendet. Also, wie ist die große Frage?
So, question for the competition. In what year was Wasp formed as a band? Not when the first album came out. What year were we formed?
Ja, das war's schon. Und jetzt gucken wir natürlich in das neue Wasp-Video. Das heißt?
This is from the new album, Still Not Black Enough. This is Black Forever. It's time, get ready. This is the one and only Mr Lawless from Wasp, and you're watching the Metal Hammer News.
Das war's fast mit der dieswöchigen Metalla-Show, aber schon der legendäre Otto Walkes sagte, Aga, Aga, einen haben wir noch. Blackie, was hast du für Zukunftspläne, Tourpläne?
Well, as I was saying before, this is broken in 2 pieces here. And the problem is it's broken here and it's broken here, so the bone, if you move your hand this way or this way, the bone flexes like that. So I go back to Los Angeles next week, and we're going to get it x-rayed again. It's been 8 weeks I've been inside of this, so I may need surgery. I don't know. If I need surgery, I'm going to have to be in this another 3 or 4 months. So I don't know what that's going to do to the tour plans if that happens, but I can't wait to get this thing off. I mean, I'd love to scratch my behind in peace without this thing on here, believe me.
Ich kenne dieses Problem. Ich kenne es bloß am Bein. Und das letzte Video, was du dir ausgesucht hast, ist von Judas Priest.
Yes. The reason I chose this video is because there's a girl in this video. She's a blonde, and she was our original rack girl when the original Wasp show with the girl on the rack and all this. Her name is Pam Jackson, and this is her.
Ja, das war's. Metalla ist jetzt fast vorbei. Ich sag ciao zu unseren guten Kumpel Blackie. Wir sehen uns hoffentlich irgendwann, wenn ihr auf Tour seid. Weiter so machen. Ich sag ciao bis nächste Woche, Donnerstag, 22 Uhr. Da sehen wir uns wieder bei Metalla. Und jetzt kommt Judas Priest mit Locked In. Ciao.